What's up, guys and girls? I want to compare two of the arguably hottest handsets out right now, the Blackberry Storm for Verizon Wireless and the iPhone 3GS for AT&T. I know a lot of you out there are trying to make your mind up between the two handsets, so this tests are going to cover really a lot of different features, including boot up and shutdown times, typing and the keyboards, photos and videos, camera and camcorder, email, their application stores, browser, and screen rotations. So I'm going to go through and talk about the specs of each device, and as I'm doing that, let me show you the shutdown and boot up times of each. I turn my phone off every night and turn it on every morning, so these are times that you'll definitely notice, and these are certainly real-world examples. So I'll try and do these both again at the same time, so we'll slide that over and hold down the power button on both. So you can see how long it takes both to turn down. Get that little swirl on the iPhone that we're all familiar with, the Verizon logo on the Blackberry Storm. Now, for those of you that may have seen my Blackberry Storm review, you'll know that I said the device has a lot of potential, and this was when it first came out. Since then, there have been a ton of firmware updates, and as I'll show you, this Blackberry Storm is running the most recent firmware. I'd like to show you that just as well, and the iPhone 3GS is using the launch firmware 3.0. Let's turn both of them on. And the 3GS launches much faster than the iPhone 3G, but certainly not nearly as quick as the Blackberry. It's almost instant on with the Blackberry, so it is very impressive. So specs of both devices. Dimensions of the iPhone 3GS, you're looking at 4.5 inches by 2.4 by 0.48, so that's the thickness. The password here. For the dimensions of the Storm, you're looking at 4.43 by 2.45 by 0.54, so just a little bit bigger. Weight of the iPhone, you're at 4.76 ounces. The Storm clocks in a bit heavier at 5.47. Battery life on the 3GS, you're looking at 12 hours of talk time and 300 hours of standby time. At least that's what the Apple claims. With the Storm, you're only looking at 5.5 hours of talk time, but 360 hours of standby time. But real world talk time, I mean, the iPhone 3GS claims to be actually well over double. Resolutions are pretty similar. The iPhone 3GS, you're looking at a 320 by 480. The Storm is 360 by 480. Size, you're at 3.5 inches for the screen of the iPhone. And for the Storm, you're at 3.25. Camera, 3 megapixels on the iPhone 3GS, 3.2 on the Storm. The iPhone does VGA video at 330 frames per second, and the 3GS comes in 16 or 32 gigabyte flavors, and the Storm ships with 1 gigabyte of internal storage, and you can expand that with a micro SD card. So now we got through all the boring stuff, let's get to the exciting stuff and the tests. So the big thing with the Storm is this sort of tactile clicking keyboard that RIM has put in. RIM stands for Research in Motion, the company that makes this. So I just launched, I think, VCast Music by accident there. So the screen is nice in idea, but in practice, doesn't necessarily translate so well. When you're typing something, you have to wait for the keyboard to come back up. But it is something that you do get used to, so let's compare the keyboards of both devices. So we'll go into messages on each. I'll go into messages here on the iPhone. I will create a new one for both. So let's say that I want to create a new message. We'll make it a new email. That's fine. Okay, looks like this needs to be set up. Close this. Okay, so now we are at the keyboard, and then typing on the Storm, you get two options. You get a very Perl-esque sure-type keyboard with 2 letters per, and you can change it to look like a standard numeric keypad with the A, B, C in alphabetical order. Or if you turn it on your side and take advantage of the accelerometer, you will get a full keyboard, a full QWERTY board. The iPhone has a full QWERTY portrait keyboard and also has a full QWERTY landscape. So let's do a typing comparison on each, and I should preface this review by saying I am an iPhone user and I've been using an iPhone for the past 2 years. So just natively, I'm going to have a little better accuracy with the iPhone, but I do want to give you guys full disclosure. So I'm going to type a message using the SureType first on the Blackberry Storm. And I'll just type, "Hi, my name is John." We'll see how it comes out. So go, my biz name is John. Not the most accurate in the world, and the shirt type can be a little bit difficult and squirrely, but it does learn what you type and it does learn your words. So if your name is something different, it will react to it, and next time it'll type it more accurately. So let's try typing the same thing now on the iPhone keyboard, which is one letter per. And let's see if we get any more accuracy with this one. And we'll type, "Hi, my name is John" again. So a little bit closer. "Hi, my name is John," but not bad. So either this is a reflection of my awful typing abilities, or the keyboards on each aren't the most accurate in landscape, or in portrait. So let's try it in landscape and see if that's any better. So we'll turn this over. There's the accelerometer. And we will type, "Hi, my name is John" again. We'll see how this works. I'm going to type as fast as I can. Okay, so that was actually pretty good and completely accurate. "Hi, my name is John." And let's try that on the iPhone. Turn that around. So that was just as accurate as well. "Hi, my name is John." So landscape keyboard wise, I think that they are relatively close. I do prefer the keyboard on the iPhone, and really that's for one major reason. When you hold your finger over a letter, you can see very clearly what letter you're typing. When you're typing a letter on on the Storm, you just get sort of a blue glow, and it's hard to see where that blue glow is coming from. I would have liked to have seen the letter. The shirt type and the clicky keyboard, they're really going to be a matter of personal preference. I think that's something you get used to, and it is nice to actually feel like you're hitting a tactile button, but you do have to wait for it to come back up. So if I'm going to evaluate keyboards completely uniquely to these devices and to try and be as unbiased as possible, I'm going to give a slight edge to the iPhone just because you can see the letters that are being typed, and you have the option for a full QWERTY keyboard in both. Although I do give the Storm credit, it is quite nice and relatively easy to learn and type on. So let's move on with our review here, and let's go to photos and videos. So I'll go back to the home screen. We'll put this back up the way it belongs. So photos and videos and managing them on the iPhone is actually relatively simple. Go into Pictures. You can go into Camera Roll. And you can view your pictures right from here. So there's a picture of my niece. You can use Multitouch to zoom in or zoom out and scroll over to the next. And speaking of pictures and video, here's a video of my dog. They can just go ahead and hit play, and the videos are stored in the same place as the pictures, and the video will just start playing. It's on vibrate right now, so you won't hear any volume. You also notice that during video you get editing ability across the top there with the iPhone 3GS to scrub and cut. I put a video up yesterday of how to edit video, so check that out if you're interested. So we'll stop this. And that's really how pictures are manipulated on the iPhone. Let's take a look at how pictures and video are handled on the Storm. So hit the media button. And now you get music, video, ringtones, and pictures. Since we started with pictures on the iPhone, let's start with pictures on the Storm. Go to all pictures. And here are a few that I just took randomly for sample. Take a second to open up, and there you go. And if you want to zoom, this doesn't take advantage of multi-touch, pinch, and zoom. Although the screen can support multi-touch, it's not really implemented in many ways. So if I want to zoom in, I can double tap, and I can zoom and pan around just as I could on the iPhone. Although I do want to show you one thing, especially with the panning. Let's go back to that picture of my niece, and we'll zoom in a little bit. If you notice that panning is much smoother on the iPhone than it is on the Storm. It's a little bit choppy on the Storm, going left and right. You can see it's taking a while to catch up with me, and it seems to go right with my finger on the iPhone. Definitely something to keep in mind. And if you want to zoom out, you can double tap again. That's zoomed back in. To zoom out, you actually have to hit that down button right there. Zoom out. And if you want to go back to the original configuration, it's still zooming. Takes a little while to catch up. You can hit that button. And now we're back to pictures. You can scroll to the next one. See, the Storm has a little bit of bugs in it, and that was definitely one of them. You can't... There we go. The scrolling is not necessarily so smooth sometimes. When it works very well, but it does not always work. Let's go back to the iPhone, and you can scroll to next. Nice and easily. So I mentioned that I would show you what version of firmware I was running here on the Storm. So let me go ahead and do that right now so that you can see that I am running the most recent version that is available. So I'm trying to get to the main menu. I'm hitting the Blackberry button. It took a few times to actually get there. Now we'll go to Options. We'll go to About. You can see that I am running version 4.7.0.148, which is the most recent. Okay, so let's go back to Media. Let's take a look at how videos are handled. So we'll go back, and now here we are in video. I showed you how they played on the iPhone. Here's a clip that was just preloaded here, Babylon AD. I think that's a trailer for an older movie. So that plays by default in landscape. Let's see if it rotates.
Save the planet. What for? Life simple.
Nope, it does not.
Kill or be killed.
So we'll,
Survivor's code. My code.
not sure where the controls are. I even pause that.
Sounds great.
Hit the app, hit the Blackberry button. There you go. Now you get the options. So we'll
You find yourself confronted by a choice.
stop that. And there are the controls. Took a couple button manipulations to get them to show up. We'll go ahead and hit stop. But you can see that video playback is actually quite smooth on the Blackberry Storm. Okay, so we'll go back to the main screen. I should also say that one advantage the Storm has over the iPhone is that you do get a landscape and portrait home screens. The iPhone does not allow you to do that. Alright, so let's continue with our tests, and let's talk about the camera and camcorder, since both are capable of taking pictures with autofocus and recording video. So I've done a video dedicated just to the iPhone 3GS's camcorder, but I'll show you real quickly what that looks like, and the camera. So you're greeted with really a very simple option. If you want to zoom in on something while taking a picture, if you tap it, or not zoom in, rather autofocus, it'll autofocus. And if you want to switch over to camcorder, there's that little switch in the bottom right hand corner, and you flip it over and you're recording video. Really is easy. Let's take a look at the Blackberry Storm and see if it is just as easy. So we will go to camera. And now here we are in the camera application. And if I want to autofocus on something, just like it was on the iPhone, you'll tap it and it'll autofocus for you. And if you want to go to camcorder, you hit the Blackberry button and to go to video camera. And you just hit record. It is pretty simple. So both do have relatively capable video recording. I will say the quality of the video that's recorded and the audio fidelity is definitely superior on the 3GS. It can record at 30 frames per second. So moving along, let's talk about email. And email, when you think of mobile email, when you think of BlackBerry, the first thing that comes to my mind is fantastic in quality. BlackBerry's bread and butter, that sounds funny, BlackBerry bread and butter, is email. That's what BlackBerry is known for, that's what they do best, and the Storm is no exception. It takes advantage of RIM's really amazing push email client. There's nothing bad that I could even conceivably say about email on the Blackberry Storm. It is great, it's fantastic, it works well. Email on the iPhone works relatively nicely and simply as well. There's an email icon at the bottom. You'll hit that. I'm going to move this out of the way so all my emails don't show up. And it's the text just appear any way that you'd like it. You can have your title, who it's from, and a few lines of preview text. And you can also have push email as well, and both are capable of talking to Exchange servers. But as far as email goes, there's really nothing better than the BlackBerry. The iPhone's email client is certainly capable, but it's not as elegant as the Blackberries, in my opinion. So next, let's talk about browser and browser speed. The 3GS is equipped with 3G, obviously, using AT&T's HSDPA network. And the Blackberry Storm is using 3G data as well on Verizon Wireless's EVDO Rev A. So let's take a look at that and how quickly it loads web pages. Okay, so the cache has been cleared out of both these devices, and we're going to load TechnoBuffalo.com on each, and we'll check the speed. And I turned off Wi-Fi on the 3GS, so we're running just now both on cell signals. And I do have 5 bars of AT&T, and I have 4 bars, it cycles between 4 and 5 of EVDO Rev A. So it is pretty fast and should be a relatively even comparison of speeds. I should always say though that network speed is going to vary by your location, so you may get a better service with one or both of these carriers. Let's go ahead and hit go on both of them at the same time, and we'll see how they both do. Well, they both finished pretty quickly, and this is a simple web page. Although the 3GS renders it as you would see it on your main web browser, the Storm seems to compress it a little bit more and ignore some of the HTML spaces that were put in there. Notice that I'm zooming in using double tap, and I can't zoom out by pinching, but I can do my zoom out using the zoom out button right there, the 2 magnifying glasses. I can zoom in using pinch in or pinch out on the iPhone, and I can pan around with my finger just like I can on the Storm. So let's load a little more complicated web page and see if there's any speed difference here as well. We will load Engadget.com. Alright, so that's queued up and ready to go on both devices. So let's hit go at the same time and see if there's any difference. Well, the Storm very quickly loaded a mobile version of the site, whereas the 3GS is being recognized as a desktop computer, is pulling up the full version. Actually seems to be loading it pretty quickly. Although I will tell you that by comparison, EVDO Rev A and the iPhone 3GS speeds are very, very close. And there you go, now they're both done. So it depends on what you're looking for. If you want the full web version of most sites, then iPhone will give that to you. The Blackberry browser is interpreted as being mobile and will load the mobile version of most sites. You can scroll through each. You can see I can flick scroll, but it doesn't keep going when I let go of my finger. It'll go just as far as I'm scrolling. With the iPhone, it flick scrolls. So the last thing that I want to show you guys is screen rotation. I know this is a software thing, but when you do want to turn the device, you like it to turn a little bit quickly. So let's see how that is on each. I'll show you that they both work. Turn that up, you can see the rotation. Here's the iPhone. Do the rotation there. And let's see how they do when both are stood straight up. So the Blackberry was a little bit quicker, although it wasn't turning and rotating nearly as much. So that was just about the same. So guys, this video did get a little long in the wind, but I do want to give you my overall impressions of both devices. Verizon's network is fantastic. Signal strength has been generally good wherever I go, and call quality is great. That being said, a great network I don't think can overcome a very buggy device. The Storm almost seems like it was rushed to market. The click screen, I've had dust caught in there, I've even had fingernails caught in there, and it does become a little bit difficult and cumbersome to use. In theory, I think it's fantastic and it was a very good idea. In implementation, I don't think it translated very well. The iPhone is certainly not without its flaws. Its email client could be better, it could handle multitasking a little more elegantly, and you could be a little bit more open as far as formats that it can read, and it could have external storage, which could be quite nice, like the Blackberry Storm has. That being said, I think the iPhone is probably a better choice of devices, and this is the 3GS. At least for me, based on web browsing. I do a lot of work online, being able to have really the full internet minus Flash and a few plugins in the palm of my hand is great. The multi-touch zoom really makes the iPhone stand out in my opinion. They're both great devices and it really is going to depend on your carrier, but if you have a choice to go anywhere, the iPhone 3GS is a hard one to turn away from. Hope you enjoyed. For exclusive content, be sure to follow me on Twitter, twitter.com/John4Lakers. I do all kinds of giveaways and contests, and you can ask me questions, and I announce live streams there. And link will be in the sidebar. Hope you enjoyed. See you in the next one.